Dave Stahl.
It's time to get educated on your Second Amendment rights. Welcome to 2 full hours of Gun Owners Radio. Your hosts, Dave Stahl, Joe Germisi, and Michael Schwartz, will teach you about firearms, self-defense, and the laws that affect your rights to keep and bear arms. Visit gunownersradio.com with questions to learn how to become a sponsor of Gun Owners Radio and get involved. Together, we will win. Now here's your hosts, Dave Stahl, Joe Germisi, and Michael Schwartz on The Answer San Diego.
All right, folks, welcome to Gun Owners Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
Hey, you deserve the best tools to defend yourself and your loved ones. The problem is that lawmakers don't understand that criminals don't obey the laws. Gun control laws just make it harder by law-abiding citizens to protect themselves. Well, what can you do about it? Well, you can join a Second Amendment activist group. The Inland Empire County Gun Owners is one you could join. IEGO makes activism easy. IEGO connects you with other gun owners, and working together, we're getting more pro-gun officials elected. Join today at inlandempiregunowners.com. Go to inlandempiregunowners.com and join today.
Carla and the crew up in Inland Empire covering Riverside and San Bernardino. Thank you guys for all that you do.
So I ran into Amy Reckert at KUSI this morning.
Oh, yeah?
And
you endorsed her.
Yeah, and San Diego UT interviewed her, and it was really cute. And she said, they interviewed her, and they says, well, you know, Trump says that the election was stolen in 20.
UT said that?
Yeah, to her, questioned her on it, and then and then they said, well, what do you think? She says, well, Hillary Clinton said that the election was stolen in 16, and she says, because I'm a licensed investigator. If I get into office and it happens again, I will investigate. And Nathan Fletcher and his wife went ballistic online because she made that statement.
Oh, so she made it on air?
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say.
Well, no, she made it to the UT, and they put it in an article.
The UT reported that. I'm kind of surprised.
That's why I couldn't wait to tell you, because I knew you'd be shocked.
I was going to say, if you overheard that, that's the last time we're going to hear it.
No. It was in the UT. So, yeah, she's out there.
How did they go crazy?
Well, because they don't want any, but that's how I even told her. I says, I hope we have a good, fair election this year. She goes, well, if I do too, but but she's everywhere. She's everywhere. She's as bad as you.
You know who else was on KUSI? Our endorsed candidate for sheriff, Kelly Martinez.
Oh yeah.
And she did. They really touched on a couple things. They talked about ghost guns, big scary ghost guns. But I'll tell you what I really appreciated, and one of the reasons we endorsed her is she really talked about criminals. That's what she talked about. Mm-hmm. The problem we have, San Diego County Gun Owners. None of us want criminals to have any kind of guns.
No.
You're a criminal. You're, causing crime, and you've broken the law, and whatever. San Diego County Gun Owners fights for the right of sane, trained, law-abiding gun owners, and frequently, we're I say frequently, more like constantly, we're begging the media and begging politicians to stop lumping us in with criminals. We're not criminals. We're the pillars of society. Mm-hmm. And Kelly Martinez did a great job of, just talking about criminals, which I really, really appreciate. The ghost gun issue is nuanced and complicated, and, I don't think anybody, the media, unless you're a gun person, you don't really truly understand what's going on, and they really try to just scare you. But Kelly Martinez did a good job of just talking about criminals. We need to take guns away from bad guys. Not lump in hobbyists, but just take guns away from bad guys. So we got an election around the corner. Please, please, please check out our voter guide. Please help Kelly Martinez get elected. No matter where you are in the county, you get to vote for her. Everybody in the county gets to vote for her, so please do. She did a good job on KUSI. Joe, how's it going, man?
It's going great over here.
Yeah. What are you talking about later?
A little bit later, talk about cowboy guns. That'll be the subject of this week.
Hence the Lakeside Rodeo
I think it's
Sure.
I think it's coincidence.
Yeah, that's
but,
appropriate.
I'm surprised you didn't wear a cowboy hat today.
yeah, I could have. Didn't think about that. It would have been another coincidence.
At the Lakeside Rodeo is great. They had we had a booth set up at the Bulls Only rodeo, and there was a Boy Scout troop. I guess the Lakeside Boy Scout troop is Troop 45, and their logo had a 45.
Did it really?
Which is awesome.
Only in East County. That's
Yeah, that is awesome. So,
No kidding.
yeah. Melissa, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Fantastic, looking lovely as always.
Thank you.
And what are you reviewing?
I'm doing Gatorz eyewear for Asian fit noses, and you guys look at me like, what?
No, it's
you guys
real.
don't feel my pain because you're
real
not
thing.
Asian. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a real thing. I lack a nose, so I have what I call a pug nose, and glasses usually fall down on me. So we're gonna talk about Asian fit.
Yeah, see,
Eye
I'm
pro.
at the other end with the Italian.
I was
nose,
going to
so-
say
Right.
my grandmother was Jewish. I'm okay.
I'm looking at all of you. I'm like, y'all
Joe's
don't
Italian.
understand.
He's good to go. But
As many sunglasses that I own, I never thought about that.
yeah, well,
That one nose would be. Oh, that's.
they used to, when I moved
I
to
need to get out more.
Yeah, I know, Dave. When I moved to Hawaii back in 1990, there was a lot of talk about that, advertising about sunglasses that I forget how they phrased it, but that's where I learned it. The Asians have a hard time.
So they don't
sometimes.
stay up. I mean, they don't stay on your nose. Is that what the problem
They
is?
just fall down like low because I don't have the bridge.
The bridge.
like you guys do.
But if you did, you'd like his. Can you imagine having a Joe nose?
like yours, like yours, like yours.
A Joe nose.
Would you take our noses over your nose?
No, I mean, I was born with this, so I don't know anything else. But
It
I'm
looks
okay
fine.
with this.
It looks fine on you.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. But I have
You just
got to
get the old man strap that goes around behind on your
I
sunglasses.
am not doing that. No, sir. No, sir.
What do you think, Jackson? What kind of
Yeah.
sunglasses do you like to wear? Do you ever tried Gatorz?
No. I've never even heard of them.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we have the review right there.
Sorry, we'll be
You might
changing
like
that
'em.
today.
There's all kinds. You know how many different brands of sunglasses are on the market?
A ton.
More, about as many as there is hair on your head.
Wasn't it like 4,698? I thought, wasn't that the number?
At least. Yeah. But those are good glasses.
Yeah.
These are the ones that they issue Navy SEALs. Jackson?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to wait for the review. I have a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait for the
Right.
review.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about guns and marijuana. We're going to talk about
You can't use that word no more.
guns.
No, marijuana. Can't use the word marijuana anymore.
Both are a little.
It's offensive.
What should I call it? Pot,
Yeah, there you go.
wacky, tobacco.
Mary Jane.
Mary Jane,
Mary Jane.
All right.
green lettuce.
We're going to talk to Russell Stewart
Broccoli.
from Beverly Hills Guns.
What'd you say?
I said broccoli. That's the new one.
Broccoli?
Broccoli?
Yeah, because never mind.
I love broccoli.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We'd have to bring broccoli into this. And then we have a
Back to
question
food
for
again.
we have a question for Sam the Gunman, and we're also going to talk to John Dillon. John Dillon's actually up next. He's got
Wait a minute. What about the one at the top?
We're going to talk about that. We ran out of time already.
We ran out
of time.
We've been on the show for 13 minutes.
We're
We've
already
run
out of time. Yeah, we're not going to have time to cover that one.
You must not like those guys.
So, and then John Dillon's going to come on, and then we're also going to talk to, what are we going to talk about?
Joe Germisi.
Yeah, Joe Germisi. All right, so we got it all. Yeah, John Dillon. Oh, top 5 things that a new gun owner needs to know. That's what John Dillon's going to talk about. John Dillon, the attorney, he's going to talk some of its legality, some of its practicality, but it's all
good.
It's all good.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. Folks. Yeah, it's $10.
When you buy a guitar, it doesn't mean you're automatically a musician. Likewise, with a gun, just because you buy one, it doesn't mean you're automatically protected. In studio, actually on the phone, is John Dillon. Let's talk about the top 5 things new gun owners ought to know.
But first, if you have legal matters that involve firearms, then you really need to call our California firearms lawyer, John Dillon. Especially if you have questions about red flag laws, gun registration, gun transportation, or maybe you just need to know that your guns are California compliant. Call our trusted firearms attorney, John Dillon. John Dillon specializes in California gun laws. Call 760-642-7150, or you can visit his website at DillonLawGP.com. Mr. Dillon, welcome to the show.
How's it going, guys?
What's up,
Not
dude?
bad. How are the kids?
Kids are doing well. They're growing too fast.
I figured that's why you're not in studio.
Yeah. No, I'm just living the farm life up here.
Oh, that's right. You are a farmer now.
Well,
He is.
He is.
You know, can you tell him about your livestock?
Yeah.
Your
How
latest-
much have you got now?
yeah, I have chickens. I have a cow. Pigs are arriving soon. I got all sorts of stuff.
And
And
you allowed to talk
And
the shell,
what?
the tortoises.
oh yes. Oh, lots of tortoises as well. Yep.
I have those. I have 2 of them.
wow.
He raises tortoises. He actually is a cow, a literal cow.
What are you doing with a cow? Are you milking it?
Yeah, I'll have a calf in July. So yeah.
Jax, you want to go up to John's
You're not
house
going
and
to
see a
eat it,
cow?
are you?
Well, it depends on if the calf is a steer. I got to raise that up. I'll have some meat.
Okay.
on the
Here's the.
table.
Let me just give you a tip. Do not name it.
Oh, see, I have no problem with that. I'll name it and I'll still
No,
eat it. And
but
I'll be
the
happy
kids-
eating Baxter.
No.
8 months from now.
No, the wife and the kids won't be able to eat it. I'm telling you. I know people that have done that. Anyway, let's
Well,
get
that
back.
means more for me.
No, more for Mike. Mike could use a steak right about now.
I actually used to have a tortoise. His name was Sal.
Sal the
There you go,
tortoise.
Yeah.
Oh, probably the sulcata, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean. So what's kicking?
All right, let's talk about guns. How
Sure.
about that?
The 5 things you ought to know. You ought to know. We should have Alanis Morris.
Isn't there a radio
kick this
show
off.
called that? You ought to know.
I think
Yeah,
so.
you go online, you'll hear about 55 different things that every gun owner should know. So I put together my own little list here, and if someone follows all these 5 rules, these 5 how-tos, it's a very high likelihood you'll never need to call me because if you mess up any one of these things, you very well may need a lawyer one day, and we'll talk about that. But in my mind, if someone was this is not just for new gun owner, but it's for every gun owner. But especially if you're just getting into guns, you just buy your first firearm. I think these are going to be very helpful, especially if you take them to heart and you implement them in your life. So I'd say first and foremost, you got to know, understand, and follow the gun safety rules. I think too often people can recite these rules, but they don't necessarily understand and implement them. But basically what it is you treat all guns as if they are loaded. You never point a gun at anything that you're willing to destroy. You have to keep your finger
You're
off
not
the
willing.
trigger. And, not willing to destroy. Not finger off the trigger and outside the trigger guard until you decide to shoot. And you got to know your target and what's behind it. Now, it's very easy. You memorize these and even follow them. But I also say it's really good to understand these rules because these rules and how they operate, they're fail-safe. So even if you happen to not follow one of them, if you're following the others, maybe the gun goes off when it shouldn't, or you're firing in the wrong direction. But if you're following the other rules, very likely that'll keep someone from getting injured. So that's the benefit of these rules. But it's truly incredibly important to learn these rules, memorize them by heart to give you an understanding. My 4-year-old, my 6-year-old, they can all recite these rules. They all know these rules, and they understand these rules when it comes to firearms. And neither of them have ever even shot a gun.
Well, didn't you just ruin Alec Baldwin's case?
Yeah, I mean,
really?
The day that news broke, I published my own opinion on that, and I said it's his fault. It's only his fault, and he's the only one to blame.
Right.
And that's true. It is. He had a gun in his hand, and he's the responsible party. So if you follow those rules, none of that happens.
Right.
And so first and foremost, that's rule number 1: is follow those 4 rules.
And
second one,
for something truly, how many of those, like something truly, for someone to get shot, if someone actually gets shot, really truly, for something truly tragic to happen, you have to break all of those rules, all 4.
Which he did.
I mean, if you're only following just one of the 4,
Yeah.
you potentially save a life. But if you follow all 4,
No, that's what I was saying. The rules are set up to where they're fail-safe. So even if you don't follow all of them, if you're following at least some of them, very likely that's going to decrease the likelihood of someone actually being injured. So if someone gets injured by a gun, it's because you've broken all the rules.
Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two, and it's somewhat related, is I say you need to become proficient and familiar with your gun. And what I mean by that is not that you go to the gun range all the time and you can pull the trigger and you have a really good aim and really good shot. What I mean by that is you have to know how your gun functions, how it operates, how it works. You got to learn to manipulate that gun and be proficient with the manipulation. So if you have a semi-automatic handgun, I want to be familiar with releasing the magazine, racking the slide, locking the slide back, releasing the slide forward, putting in a new magazine. You want to be able to be so familiar with your gun, it's not a struggle to operate it, and clear a malfunction or to load the magazine or unload it. And when you do all this stuff and you practice, one of the main things you got to be careful on is you got to go back to that rule number one, which is follow all those gun safety rules, because most negligent discharges, they always happen, when someone's manipulating a gun or cleaning their gun. So you got to make sure that you follow those gun safety rules when you're doing this practice. But you got to be familiar with your gun. And I'll give you an example. There's a lot of people, especially at the beginning of the pandemic, that, they went out and bought a gun because, they wanted a gun for safety reasons. So they buy that gun and then they put it in their drawer in their safe and they haven't touched it since. And I've literally had people call me that, bought their first gun 2 years ago, and they have called me and said, "Hey, John," I know them. And they're like, I got my gun. It's in my drawer, but can we, go over how to take it out, unload it, figure it out? Because since they bought that gun, they haven't even touched it, and they don't know how to unload their gun or how to safely, hold their gun and operate it. So I think it's really important that you got to become familiar with the gun. And so, take your gun, make sure that it's unloaded, ammunition out of the room, and then sit down, manipulate, move your gun, work all the parts, figure out, learn how it functions, and become familiar with operating that gun in every aspect. And that will go a long way. And it also will help prevent any type of negligent discharge or any type of accident with the gun when you know how a gun operates. Let's see. So number three, and this is you're talking to a lawyer, so I always say you got to know your state and local laws. It doesn't matter why you've bought a gun, if it's for self-defense in the home or for carrying purposes or just for recreational shooting, especially in a state like California. You absolutely have to pay attention to not only the current laws, but proposed upcoming laws and new laws, because in a state like California, we get about 5 new gun laws every single year in this wonderful state, and you'd think we'd become that much more safer with everyone, but that's just not the case. But a lot of people, I get a lot of phone calls of with people that are in sort of legal trouble or have some legal liability because they weren't up to date or they didn't understand their state and local laws. So to give an example, if you have a firearm in your home for self-defense, you need to know, what are the self-defense laws in your state. You need to understand, what type of liability you may incur if someone's to break in and you use your gun in self-defense. If you go to the range and you just use your gun for fun recreational shooting, well, you got to understand the laws that surround traveling with a firearm. You can't just throw your gun in the glove box and drive to the range. You got to have safe storage requirements and travel requirements when it comes to firearms. If you own any type of AR-15 or what they call assault weapon in California or assault style rifle, you got to understand California changes the definition of assault weapon about every year these days. And so you got to understand what is and what's not an assault weapon. But
John, and just to add on to your point there too, for people that travel, if you're going out of state, going to other states, it's your responsibility to know what the laws are in that state if you're going to bring your firearm with you. And they are all kind of different, and they're not rational, and they don't all make sense.
Exactly, and another good example here is if you have a gun, you carry concealed. You have a concealed carry permit. You know, in this state currently, it's still you're still allowed to have a high capacity magazine. Some issuing agencies in certain counties allow you to have a high capacity magazine that's lawfully owned in your carry gun. But if you go into the city of Los Angeles, you can't have that high capacity magazine. So you got to be aware of not only your state laws but also the local laws. So it's your responsibility. You're never going to be able to say to a court or a police officer, "Hey, I just didn't know about the law. I'm sorry, I didn't know." That's never an excuse. It's never going to be a defense to any type of charge or criminal charge. So it's your responsibility to stay up to date on that.
That's the fourth one?
That was 3.
That was 3. All right, 4.
Number 4, I'd say would be to buy the proper gear. So if you're going to be carrying your gun concealed or open carry or go hunting with it or even just have your gun at home, you need the proper gear. That's, whether it's the proper gun belt or the proper holster
that is
or the
crucial.
proper ammunition or the proper gun safe if you want to store your firearm. This is not the time to skimp out. It's the time to buy the right equipment that will last, that will not fail on you, because that's another instance where accidents happen when you kind of go the cheaper route and your equipment fails on you. Someone can get hurt,
and
whether it's yourself or someone else.
And what's the 5th one?
The 5th one, get involved. You got to start supporting the gun rights groups that are quite literally making it to where you can actually still have your gun, still buy a gun, especially in states like California. They are doing everything they can to keep you from being able to own and possess firearms. So if you're going to be a gun owner, I'm sorry, but you got to be a Second Amendment advocate these days. And you have to get involved, whether it's monetarily or you involve your time in your own personal efforts. You got to protect your own rights.
So are you going to deliver this calf? Because if you are, I want a video.
I want to see that
I'll
too.
Film it.
I can't wait for you to do that. It's going to land right on you, and I'm going to love every minute of it.
I'm going to hold the camera
I'll send
from
it
the
right
other
to
end.
you.
Farmer John. That's going to be change all your business cards. Farmer John, the attorney. Thanks,
John.
buddy. You're the best. Have you ever dreamed about becoming a pilot? Boy, you can make that dream come true at San Diego Flight Training International. We are so excited to welcome San Diego Flight Training International as a new sponsor. You can learn to fly, and you can start the adventure of a lifetime in the heart of San Diego, right at Montgomery Field. Getting started is easy. Give them a call at 858-569-1822. You can learn to fly at SDFTI. Give them a call, 858-569-1822. So, Action Jackson, if Mike gets a pilot's license, will you go up and jump out of an airplane?
I would, but at the same time, I wouldn't.
You and me both. If it's flying, I'm staying in it.
He's a complicated man.
Yeah, I'm not jumping out of a perfectly good airplane.
Why would you?
I wouldn't.
And if I were piloting it, you wouldn't need to.
No, I might be a little nervous.
Did you see me drive?
That's what I say. I might be a tad nervous.
You've never been off-roading with me yet.
That's even scarier. I watch videos.
All right, so you guys remember Donald Trump?
Yep.
Remember him?
Yep.
So he had a son,
Junior.
Donald Trump Jr., and Donald Trump Jr. is launching a new gun rights group.
Really?
Yeah, it's called the Second Amendment Task Force.
Is he a shooter?
Yeah, big time. So Donald Trump Jr., big supporter of NRA.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Hunting,
Yeah.
sport. I believe all his sons are really, really into
Yeah.
it, but particularly Donald Trump Jr. I was kind of expecting him, honestly. At one point, I figured he'd join the board for NRA or something, But so this really makes sense that he's doing the Second Amendment Task Force. I think that Donald Trump had a foundational appreciation and understanding, kind of a surface understanding of the Second Amendment, and I know he carried, but I really think it was his son that made really kept him in line and talked about the nuance. That's my impression anyway, because I know Donald Trump's really big into it. So Donald Trump Jr. is launching a new gun rights group that he says will be a vehicle for fighting against democratic gun control efforts. Quote, the Second Amendment is the whole ball game. It is the freedom that protects all our other freedoms. Unfortunately, the Biden administration and Democrats in Congress are hell-bent on eroding our constitutional right to keep and bear arms. whether it's nominating a radical gun grabbers to senior positions in the executive branch or pushing anti-gun legislation. That's a quote from Trump Jr. He said the Second Amendment task force is entirely devoted to ensuring the left is never successful in disarming American citizens. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's great. I think it's if he can leverage his name and his dad's popularity to actually get something done and get people fired up, I think it's a great thing, because another national type Second Amendment rights group is really something that we need out here. The NRA is having their issues nowadays. And I always thought it was terrible anyway that there's 5 million, I think, members in the NRA.
Yeah.
I mean, that's disgraceful.
It's not enough.
I mean, it really is. I mean, gun owners should be ashamed of themselves. There's got to be 150 million gun owners in this country.
Well, in their
should be able to get more.
But in their defense, are you 100%? Do you think NRA is doing the right thing? All the way across the board?
I'm not going to agree with everything anybody does.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's probably why you don't have as many gun owners joining an organization like that.
Yeah, I don't know, because this isn't a recent thing. I mean, they've
No.
had 5 million members for a decade. It's
and they've cited different ways to where they've upset gun owners in general.
They have, yeah, but the reality, I think, in my opinion, Michael could jump in on this one, but we have guns today as private citizens in large part because of the NRA.
In large part because of the NRA.
Whether you agree with them or not.
In large part because of Wayne LaPierre. I know everybody's giving Wayne a bunch of crap right now, and some of it's well-deserved, but I got to tell you, that guy was crucial in the 80s.
I used to interview him all the time. I don't know why we can't get him now, but I used to have him on.
I don't think we want him now.
Yeah, well, I know, but I used to have him on all the time, and no, I agreed with it, but I have followed the NRA. What do you think, Melissa?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a member because I had to belong to a club, so that was one of my requirements. So I was like, okay, I'll be an NRA member, and then I had to be. When I was an instructor, when I became an NRA instructor for pistol, I had to be an NRA member.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've been a member, and, there are things that I do agree with, and there's things that I don't. So it's very controversial. And
so the don't side of it, don't you think that's what's keeping the membership kind of at bay?
It's like from what I experience from my gun groups that I belong to and all my friends who do not support the NRA, yes.
That's my point. It's like AARP. I mean, I've refused to join AARP because of what they do.
Their political stance.
Well, yeah, and
stances.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that, because that's kind of where my feeling is too. I mean,
and it doesn't seem. And I just want to clarify. I don't think they're trying to replace the NRA.
No.
It's kind of interesting, and it's a very specific purpose. It doesn't sound like they're going to do lawsuits. It sounds like it's really more of a lobbying effort. It says, quote, the idea for the group came from our unsuccessful effort to stop a radical anti-gun lobbyist from becoming the head of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms. So they're talking about David Chipman. We had to make sure that the American people knew what was going on, especially with red state Democrats. If they're considering casting an anti-Second Amendment vote, we're going to make sure they feel the pain. Now, the cool thing about that is, usually when people say, hey, we're going to start a new Second Amendment group or any kind of advocacy group, really what they're talking about is raising a bunch of money for attorneys. Now, that's not a bad thing. We got to take them to court,
right.
But what I like seeing is that this is true lobbying. This is educating voters, putting pressure on elected officials, and, that's a great idea. It was a great idea 6 years ago when it was our idea.
Well, see, and that's the key, though, because there is so much disinformation or misinformation about there related to guns in this country, and a group that's going to focus on trying to correct that, I think is something really worthwhile that we need to have. Because now we're going to have a minister of disinformation, which I'll be writing about next week.
You got to listen to her video first.
I'm sure I'll get to it. But it would be nice to have, an organization trying to get the word out effectively to people, because I think a lot of anti-gun people just don't know, and that's the issue. It's some of them are the leadership. I think are hardcore and they're generally dishonest. But I think a lot of people, the people that show up at gun shows and hold the signs up, so a lot of them don't know. They just don't know. And I think if there's a way to reach out to these people and just educate them a little bit. I think that's a really worthwhile thing because, I mean, even, 10 years ago, if you'd have asked me, hey, should we ban assault rifles? Yeah, I didn't know anything. I just said, well, yeah, why do people need those? Because I didn't know. And I think that's a big issue right now. So I think it's a great idea.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how many people sign up for this group compared to the NRA.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to take members or how they're going to do this or what exactly the plans are. They're kind of up in the air. And there are some folks. There was an article on AmmoLand that there are some gun folks that are basically saying, look, we need to keep a close eye on this. Every indicator I've ever seen of Donald Trump Jr. is he's a legit gun guy. It's sometimes it's kind of a double-edged sword with gun owners. We have this healthy dose of skepticism, and then it also it's kind of this we're our own worst enemies too.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of the reason why we have something that's a constitutionally protected right, and we still have to fight and argue about it every day. I think that's a big part of the problem.
Well, truly, but all right, let's keep an eye on it and make sure that he goes the right way. But my fear is that he makes a couple. Look, trust me when I say every organization, every leader, makes a misstep here and there. When they do, if they do, it's not even if, it's when they do, let's make sure that we're there to support them and not just, destroy them and walk away as if we've accomplished something good.
Well, and that's the thing, keep an eye on them. Does that mean, okay, the first thing that happens that somebody doesn't agree with, now it's the end of the world with this thing?
That's what I'm saying. I hope not. I hope that's not the case. Because, man, do we do that.
Yes, we do.
One little nuanced whatever, And I know that it's difficult because when you're out there talking to the public, you're trying to go to where they're at, And when I say they, I mean people that aren't in the gun bubble. So you're trying to go to where they're at. You're trying to use their words and speak on their terms. Meanwhile, you have people on your own side. If you don't use the right terminology, you don't say the exact right thing, then they're ready to absolutely destroy you. Well, you're trying to make things easier for the people outside of the bubble to understand and side with you. But meanwhile, you gotta look over your shoulder. We need to have each other's backs, not worry about a knife, coming in your own back. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. I really truly hope he's successful. I like the fact that he's doing something different. I like the fact that it appears to be led by someone who not only is a legitimate gun guy and has an interest in Second Amendment issues, but he's somebody with connections and somebody who knows what they're doing.
Did you say what you were looking at there? Did he mention what's their prime goal, or what's his main philosophy here, or
what's his mission
trying
statement?
To accomplish?
So he didn't really get that detailed, but he said that during the midterms that we're going to see them everywhere. So it sounds like he put an emphasis in the explanation on getting information out there.
Well, that's good though, because you see Joe Biden and the anti Second Amendment folks everywhere. So
everywhere, truly everywhere.
It'll be good to see.
It will. It's not. I mean, something I think that San Diego County Gun Owners has done fairly successfully, and that's mainstreamed the issue. You turn on the news, we're there, where that wasn't the case before. So even that can be enormously effective.
No, I think it is because again, for too long, I think we've sat on the sidelines, gun owners, collectively. And we've allowed that stuff to happen. We've allowed terms like gun violence and stuff like that to develop to where, now when there's a shooting or something happens, we focus on the inanimate object that the criminal used rather than on the criminal. And, it's going to take a bit to undo that. But, I mean, we let that happen, I think.
I wonder where he's going to get the funding.
NRA.
And he was involved with the NRA. I know that. But anyway, so that's it.
That's a good topic.
Yeah, Second Amendment Task Force, Donald Trump Jr. Keep an eye out for it.
Yeah. Hey.
Should using stop you from owning? Nikki Fried sued the Biden administration to let marijuana users own guns. Guns and weed next.
But first, does it take too much time to clean your guns? Clean, lube, and protect your guns faster with Seal One. Seal One CLP Plus is natural, non-toxic, and environmentally friendly. Tastes great, too. Just kidding. Hey, clean your guns easier and faster. One and done with Seal One. Ask for it by name at your local gun shop or get some on their website. Seal1.com. That's seal1.com.
So, how's it going, everybody? I don't know if I think that so I grew up in Florida and Hawaii and California, and there's one thing that those three states definitely have in common, and that is their infatuation with marijuana. And I'm 46 years old, and I've never touched it, not one time. And that's not true. I did.
You never inhaled.
I never inhaled. A couple months ago, actually, I tried like this sleep aid that had THC in it. And it was like a little gummy, and it did absolutely nothing. That's it. I forgot. So that's it. 46 years into this life, I tried a gummy with some THC. That's the extent. After living in Florida, Hawaii, and California, which is, marijuana is an enormous cash crop. I'm not going to go around the room and make you all admit whether or not you have or haven't. But this day and age, it's so mainstream. I don't even think it matters.
All I can tell you is you're trying to lose weight. Stay away from it.
Okay.
Forgetting is part of it, so it actually did do something for you.
That's right.
I was going to say there's a movie called Super High Me where a guy tried it out, and he actually lost 2 pounds doing it. So, I wouldn't suggest that. No, I'm serious.
Figures
that's a different
Brendan
story.
would pipe in on that side of things.
Of course.
Jeez, pipe in.
Get it?
All right, so, but here's the thing. A few years ago, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals said that if you have a medical marijuana card, you are a prohibited person.
Right.
So what happened was they had a lady who went into a gun store, and for ID, she gave them her medical marijuana card. And they said, okay, well, it's a controlled substance. Basically, the federal government, I'm gonna kind of simplify some things, but the federal government looks at marijuana basically the same thing as like cocaine or heroin. It's a controlled substance.
It's level 1.
So if you are using it, even though it's legal in the state of California, if you're using it, you're considered a prohibited person. So she said, well, look, I'm not using it. I just have a medical marijuana card. Try selling that to, whatever. But
I didn't inhale.
But I guess she did prove that, hey, you know what? I don't actually use it. And the court said, well, if you have a medical marijuana card, it's pretty reasonable to think that you're using it. And the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals said, hey, can't you're a prohibited person. That's it. Done deal.
But they said that because it's, and I'm asking this. They said that because it's against the law federally.
Correct.
And that's who decides whether you're a prohibited person or not. It's not a state thing, right?
Yeah, exactly right. So they're basically saying, look, the state of California, even though they make it legal, it's still federally controlled. So therefore, you can't own a gun if you're messing with marijuana in any way.
So with the Ninth Circuit, then even a broken clock is right twice a day, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, so by the letter of the law, they're right. But here's the thing: something's got to happen. Something has to happen. The federal government has to do something. Something has to happen. Because you can't, there's clearly a conflict with the federal government and the state government. The state government says, hey, you can use marijuana pretty much for any reason. You don't even need a medical. I don't even think you don't even need a medical marijuana card anymore. No. I just bought these dumb gummies. I didn't have to have a medical marijuana card.
See.
So
well, and just to not to defend, but the lady that said that she has a card but she doesn't use it.
Yeah.
If you go into a dispensary and purchase product. They register you in the system.
So official.
So I thought you'd like that. Believe it or not, my wife asked me to get some things for the dogs that had cancer, and
they had cancer.
We literally saved 3 dogs' lives by giving them, but we can't give them THC because they fall over. So we finally had to get them without the THC. But
they're wiener dogs, so they don't fall very far.
No, these are Rotties, man.
We
didn't know how much to give him, so we just gave him on a cookie, and he just fell over and was asleep for like 3 hours.
I don't think there's any more sad sentence than dogs have cancer. That's so sad.
It's so sad. You have no idea. You have no idea.
So, but they took it, and it helped.
Oh, immensely.
Yeah.
Immensely. And, I mean, the dog lived for another – he gained all his weight back.
Yeah.
And live for another 3 years.
Well, if you're bored on a any night of the week, you go down to Mission Valley, and the 511 store has a door right next to a pot dispensary store.
I know.
So here's what you do: park across the parking lot,
right?
And then as people walk up, you and your significant other, whoever, try to guess which door they're going to go into.
Yeah.
That's what you do. And then keep score.
And don't get close.
You keep score. Why not?
Because the aroma that comes out of that building, trust me, man.
Okay, so here's the point. So here's what's going on. So here's why we're talking about
I know
all
too
this.
much about this.
Yeah, really, Dave.
Woof, woof.
So agriculture commissioner Nikki Fried. I think it's Fried. 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 That's good. The irony, right? Fried. She's fighting for
Get it?
Yeah.
Is that where you take your dates? Down to 511?
Well, I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Down to 511.
Expensive date.
Right?
So she is the agriculture commissioner for the state of Florida. And she's also, interestingly, a Democrat.
Really?
And she's actually suing the federal government because the federal government requires, basically you're a prohibited person if you're using medical marijuana. So that's finally something's happening. Finally something's happening. And I really want to emphasize, especially to Californians, you don't understand this. If you're a Californian and you own a gun and you touch marijuana, you've just committed a felony.
Right.
If you use marijuana, you've just committed a felony. If you take it under the guidance of a doctor, you've committed a felony. You're completely prohibited, which is ridiculous.
Our government's going to hate Florida.
Why? Well, it's kind of amazing it's coming out of Florida. But it's amazing it's coming out of Florida.
Yeah.
It's amazing it's being led by a Democrat.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, everybody's heard me. I've kind of gotten this reputation for beating up on Republicans. Here's another example of, Republicans could have solved this and been heroes, but they didn't. No. So now it's left to some Democrat who's probably doing this. I'm sure that she believes in it or whatever, but she's probably doing this so she can get into higher office.
Yeah.
Raise her profile.
But I still think the government hates Florida.
A lot of people hate Florida. Why?
Well, because of DeSantis and all of the stuff. He's constantly going right while everybody else goes left.
He just said, did you hear? He said that by the time he leaves the governor's chair, that they're going to be a constitutional carry state.
Oh, did he really?
Florida. Yeah, he said
I believe
that.
it. I believe it. And the state of Florida do not want him to be president, vice president. They don't want him to leave.
Why wouldn't they? Oh, they don't want him to leave.
No. They'd rather he be the governor for the rest of their lives.
You would think this would be an easy decision for the Biden administration, wouldn't you? Because I mean, it fits. It goes right along with their, who they think their constituents are, right? Just to fix this, wouldn't that? Why would they fight that or resist that? I wonder.
You could say that about a lot of things.
Honestly, I don't even know if this is an act of Congress or the executive branch. I really don't know. Can he just undo that? I mean, it's the Food and Drug Administration that's under the executive branch.
But if you're talking about laws, that allegedly is Congress, but we don't pay attention to that.
It would have to go through
anymore.
Here's my bet. I'll bet you. Okay, so we're probably going to get a Republican Congress here soon. My bet is they won't do it. They're going to screw it up.
They won't touch it.
They're going to screw it up, and then everybody's going to be mad at me because I criticize them for screwing up.
Well, look at the last time they were in office.
Yeah, they didn't do anything. But how would you fix it though? How are you're saying they're going to screw it up? All right, what's the fix? What would you do?
Some bill would have to go through Congress, basically declassifying it as a control as that level of controlled substance.
So they'd be making it legal at the federal level. Is that what you're saying? They should do.
They would have to.
I guess that's would be it. I mean, I guess they could say, hey, look, if it would, they could say something like, hey, mirror the state, requirements, something like that. I mean, I guess there's a few different ways to fix it.
Well, and the other law is you have to pay cash. You cannot use a credit card or to buy product.
What?
I don't think is that. I'm pretty sure I use a credit card.
Yeah, you need to wear a mask too, right?
No.
What? You have to use cash? I don't have cash.
You have to use cash.
What would I be doing with cash?
Well, I'm just saying, and I don't know how you got away with it.
Yeah, because it's a banking thing, isn't it?
Right.
That's right. For the dispensaries can't
really
use the banks. Yeah, that's why they're a big target.
And why do you think?
I don't care. Again, I don't really care. I seriously don't care about marijuana at all. I'm definitely not defending.
But just look at the money the states are losing and the credit card companies are losing.
Well, but I think that makes my argument stronger. I'm not sitting there like pining away.
No, I agree with you.
I'm, from an outsider's perspective, this makes no sense.
Why can't they just treat it like alcohol?
Well,
That's my whole
that's
thing.
the whole point. I mean, when I went down to get the stuff seriously for the dogs, I walked in with a credit card, and they said, "No, we can't take credit cards."
I didn't know that.
What do you mean you can't take a credit card? What part of that does? He says, "Talk to your governor." And I went, okay, so and they have ATM machines right in the building. So, but I'm just saying, I mean, it's another stupid law that makes no sense.
Melissa, what's your favorite product from the dispensary?
Oh, he's gonna put me on the spot.
I'm just kidding.
Brownies.
I'm kidding.
No, I know I don't do any of that kind of stuff.
Well, you
what
can't.
what I actually really liked is I bought the CBD cream.
Yes,
It's like got hemp and
but THC's not in that.
No, it was. I bought it for my eczema, so it
But I mean,
actually
it's not.
helped
But,
it.
yeah, but there's no THC. You're not going to get hallucinogenic.
No,
You're not
I mean
going.
it's on my freaking finger.
Right,
So
right. But that's, and even they say that's illegal.
I guess.
But there's no THC in it because that's
Well, they sell it at the dispensary, and it's for like there's like a dog and cat version. There's
Right.
a human version. So.
exactly. I like the human version for the dog. They fall over really fast. It's really cool.
Howdy, partners. We're talking about cowboy guns next with Mr. Joe Dramisi. Yeehaw!
Hey, but first, a lot of companies are frustrated with their website. It looks old, it's hard to update, and it's not generating any leads. Well, we have an answer. Sage Tree gets it. Since 2005, Sage Tree has been helping companies with websites that look great, work great, and get leads. Stop being embarrassed by your website and get one that's you're proud to share. Contact Sage Tree today to get a website that makes the phone ring. Getting started is easy. Go to sagetree.com and schedule a call. Go to sagetree.com and press that schedule a call button right away. All right, Joe. Are cowboy guns really fun?
Of course, they're really fun. I wouldn't say it if they weren't really fun.
I'm just reading what it said.
Oh, okay. Yes, they're fun.
What's fun about them?
So, I'll give you the story here. As you know, I've always been a big fan of westerns and John Wayne and all that kind of stuff. So it was only natural that eventually I'd have to have some of these, period guns from back then. And being in California, I'm kind of at a disadvantage a little bit where you don't readily come across these things. If you live in the free states, they have gun shows and things like that, and people see these things a lot. So I thought replicas are a good place to start. So you can get a replica old, Western gun here. You get a really nice high quality gun at a reasonable price. So I started out with the first one I got was an 1873 Winchester lever gun replica.
Ooh, I love those.
And it was funny because when I was telling people I was looking for something like that, everybody said the same thing. Oh, lever gun, you'll love it. You'll love it. And so I said, okay. So Uberti is one of the Italian guns. There's a couple of Italian makers or Italian gun manufacturers, I guess, that make replica guns that are pretty high quality. So Uberti's one of them. And I started looking at what they had. And I ended up getting this 1873 Winchester carbine. And it was just, I got it, and it's just a beautiful gun. I got it in 357 Magnum, that caliber, because there were several calibers I can get in. And when I did it, I knew less than I know today. So I was thinking, okay, well, I've got these other guns in that caliber, so I'll just get it in that caliber. It'll be handy. So I think the next one that I get, I'll get in a more traditional caliber, I think, for that.
What about Henry?
Henry's got beautiful guns. Yeah, that's another one, too. There are more guns on the list. That's where I started. So I ended up with that lever gun, and it's just a beautiful gun. I wish, if we were on a gun show, I could have brought it in and just kind of showed everybody. But since we can't do that here, I couldn't bring it in. I almost
YouTube.
did, but it's just a beautiful gun. It shoots really well. Out to easily. I mean, I could shoot it pretty accurately out to 100 yards, and that's freestanding. That's without a bench or anything like that. And and it's got the buckhorn sights on it, so it's got the regular iron sights, the octagonal barrel, and it's just a beautiful gun. It's a lot of fun. So that's where I started. And then I'm thinking the next progression is, okay, well, I have to have a handgun. You got to get an old 6-shooter. And there's a gun out there also made by Uberti that's it's called the Rooster Shooter. And if you're a John Wayne fan, if you're familiar with, if you've seen El Dorado, one of the John Wayne movies with John Wayne and Robert Mitchum, or if you've seen the original True Grit with John Wayne, the gun that he uses in those movies is what this replica is. And it was a gun that John Wayne used in a number of movies. And it's kind of unique. If you look at the handgun, if you see those two movies, and I'll include a picture or two here in the article when I publish it tomorrow. But if you look, you could see the handles they were supposed to be a yellowed ivory. And it's actually, the story behind it is they're not really ivory handles. John Wayne had liked that gun, and he was in a shop somewhere in the Southwest, they said in Arizona or someplace, and he found these handles or these panels for his handgun, and he liked them, and he picked them up, and they were made out of some synthetic material that they say hasn't been available in about 50 years, but that's what he used for the guns. So Uberti did something similar to it, but if you look at the gun, if you look in the movies or if you look at the pictures, they have kind of the handles, the grip panels look almost orange, and they were supposed to be kind of a yellowed ivory. So that was the gun I wanted. That was the Rooster Shooter, and
because that was his name, Rooster Cogburn.
Yeah,
right?
that's
and
what
True Grit.
that's what they named the gun. So because it was a replica of that gun, and I delayed it. I hesitated. Everybody had these things. They were a reasonable price, and I didn't do it. And then COVID hit, and after COVID, nobody has these guns. You would think, okay, who's buying old cowboy guns for protection? I don't know what the reason is, but you can find these guns nowhere now, and so
what's that old saying? You snooze, you lose.
I learned a valuable lesson there. So what I did is I went to Plan B. So what I found was Plan B was the gun I showed you a little bit earlier. Can I say I showed it to you? Because I don't want to get thrown off here again. Right. That was okay?
Yeah, you showed me a picture of it.
Okay, yeah, it was a picture. What that is, that's a gun by Cimarron is another good company, and they do the same thing. They distribute for these Italian gun makers. But Cimarron has one called a Pistolero, which I ended up buying, and I did get this one in .45 long Colt, and just a beautiful gun. You guys saw the picture earlier today, but it's really nice. It's got the walnut grips. It's got a brass trigger guard and backstrap to it. The cylinder and the barrel are all blued, and just a beautiful gun. And it shoots really well too. A lot of things, with these older style guns, if you shoot, I think you remarked when you were looking at the picture that the trigger guard seems small, the handle seems small, and a lot of those period kind of guns are that way. And it's interesting. One of the things I didn't get on the lever gun, and I almost did, and I chickened out. But
the loop.
Yeah, the next gun is going to have the John Wayne loop on it.
Nice.
And the actual real reason for that is people in the wintertime had gloves on, and if you look at like the 1873 lever gun, that lever is tiny. I mean, I can get my hand in it now pretty easily, but if I had gloves on, I don't know that I'd be able to do that. So the next one will be like that. But even the handgun, the Pistolero handgun, the trigger guard is tight for for your fingers. And again, if you feel if you grab the gun, it doesn't feel like a modern gun, but it shoots really well. Because one of the other things that you'll see with those handguns sometimes is they've got that blade sight. The front sight is a blade sight, and the sight sometimes is taller. And which means what happens actually is if you line that tall front sight up with the rear cutout sight, what happens is the gun shoots a little bit low because the sight is so tall. You're actually pointing down to get it lined up. Mine, I don't think does that. Again, I wasn't shooting it from a bench. I was having fun just standing and shooting it at about 15 yards.
John Wayning it.
I did not try that, but I may try that next time. But mine, I don't think shoots low like that, so I'll have to check it out next time. But
how's your quick draw?
That's another thing too, because everybody's tempted to do it. You don't want to do it with a loaded gun, but
shoot yourself in the foot.
Well, my son was in Mexico a couple of years ago, and he ran into some old holster maker down there, and he brought me back a leather cowboy holster. And I've got this gun that actually works with it.
It fits?
So I was trying that today, and I got to give I got a lot of respect now for these actors that do this kind of stuff because It is not that easy to grab that thing and draw it out of there. Cocking the hammer back, getting your finger on the trigger. It's also not easy twirling it, but I got time here, so I'm going to work on it. So cowboy guns are fun. Everybody, except for certain actors,
what more
should
could you
have
say,
them.
right?
Yeah, all right. That's cool.
All right. We'll start calling him Tex.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Don't do easy.
And do the rest
Easy.
of it.
Eye protection is mandatory when you become a gun owner. But how cool can you look with the right pair of shades? Let's explore the boundaries of coolness and the ocular safety with Miss Melissa Lee.
But first, Mother's Day is right around the corner, and Leo Hamill is San Diego's top shop when you're looking for the perfect gift. Find the perfect gift for mom at Leo's. You can get earrings, necklaces, rings, bracelets. You'll find something she'll love at Leo's. When you buy from Leo Hamill, not only will you get the best deal, you'll also get supporting the Second Amendment. Support the companies that support the 2A. Call 619-299-1500, or you can visit their website at leohamill.com to find the jewelry buying location near you. Always get awesome service at Leo's. Call 619-299-1500. All right, Melissa, tell us about your Gatorz Z.
So I have something a little special today because this is obviously not something that's not talked about a lot. Is that obviously I'm Asian. I have a pug nose or a short bridge nose, and
We talk about that a lot.
You So I always have trouble finding eye pro that doesn't slip down and slide down off my face or crush my eyelashes, sit too close to my face and crush my cheeks because I have a pug nose. I have a short bridge nose. So Gatorz is one of the very few companies that actually makes eye pro for Asian fit.
It actually says it in their
It actually does. It
Wow.
actually does. So I'm going to show you the Gatorz that I was sent by my lovely Amy Dillon, who's on the line. Are you there, Amy?
Yes, I am. Hi, Melissa. Hi, everyone.
Hello, hello.
So Amy works with Gatorz Eyewear. She is also my other cohort with Asian Pacific American Gun Owners Association. She is the director of communications. Thank you so much for sending me these. And Gatorz, thank you. These sunglasses, they are very fashionable. They're not ugly. And let me show you the reason why these are Asian fit. I don't know if you guys can see this, but this nose piece is long and these are fully adjustable. So I had to push these out away from the sunglasses to accommodate space for my eyelashes. Ladies, these won't crush your eyelashes. So, and Amy, I brought the ones that you got me for Christmas, and I'm going to show them the normal nose piece. Look how short that is compared to these long ones. So this is what I can wear. I cannot wear this. This will slip off my face, and then it will also crush my eyelashes and sit too close to my cheeks. So Amy, tell me about these sunglasses. Tell me about the company and why you like this company and these glasses so much.
Yeah, so I've been a brand and sales rep with Gatorz Eyewear for the last year, and they are, very well known in the military spec ops community. They actually started out in San Diego, California, so they are a local company. It's American-made eyewear, but they started out in San Diego for the skydiving and motorcycle community, and over time, over the last 30 years, they kind of made their way into the U.S. military spec ops community because of their strength, durability, and also the fact that they have, the no slip fit, and the temples are really thin, so they fit well under helmets. And it's metal, forgot to mention they're made out of aircraft aluminum, 70-75 billet grade aluminum. So they're very durable. They're a very durable piece of eyewear. And I believe, Melissa, we sent you the Magnum, which is the clear lens ones you have.
Yeah,
so
those are the ones
actually,
I got for Christmas from you, is the Magnums.
Right. Those are the ones that are actually issued to U.S. Navy SEALs. So that's kind of how, Gatorz kind of expanded into the military community. And then the other ones we sent you are the we call them the Deltas. That's the style. And Gatorz makes not only, like what you said, Asian. We do have Asian fit specific wear, but all the points that make it a great fit are applicable to the non-Asian fit wear. I can see. I actually am watching you guys on YouTube, and I can see you holding it up to the camera. Yeah. So. They do make other options available, not only for premium eyewear on the range, but also just for everyday, carry lifestyle styles as well. So,
yeah, I like how lightweight they are, and they're
extremely
very
lightweight.
Yeah, and they're very durable. Here you go, Joe. Try them on.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't even feel them on your face.
Yeah, the frames just totally disappear too. Once you put them on,
Right.
you can't see the frames at all.
They look good on you, Joe.
Yeah, they are comfortable. I like
They
these.
don't hit your eyelashes.
Yeah, but see, they run a little high on him.
Do they?
Well, because
I can't see.
when you look at that's right, you can't see.
Oh wow, look at Michael.
I can't
He looks
tell.
good in
Well,
those.
Yeah.
They are custom fit. I do want to mention they are custom fit.
Right.
So you can actually bend the frame, the nose piece. As Melissa was saying, she can extend the nose piece out if she needs them to sit off her face a little bit, or if you want them a little bit more secure to your face, you can do that. And the ones Melissa has, you've got two style options there. You've got the wrap style, and then one is the Deltas aren't a wrap style.
I like the Deltas. I've never worn those. I have I've been wearing these for years. I really, really like them. And when you say they're custom fit and durable, you are not kidding. I wore them for like a year, and they kind of didn't quite fit well enough. And I forgot who I was talking to, but somebody else had a pair of these. I actually think the guy was a SEAL, and he had a pair of them. And I said, "Hey, I've heard you can like adjust these and make them fit." He goes, "Oh yeah," grabs them and just starts pulling them apart. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And but it totally makes them fit. They're really, really great. They're very, very hardy. They're the best glasses I've ever had. I actually really don't like glasses at all. I've never liked sunglasses. I love these.
You look like John Belushi.
Well,
With the Deltas, the Deltas do kind of look.
You look like John Belushi.
Well, I'm getting the band back together.
I'm telling you.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that because, people underestimate how important eyewear is, not even with just shooting, but with anything you're doing around the house that requires, that maybe you're doing some yard work or mowing the lawn, even everyday chores like that where you have objects that can hit your eye. It's very important to wear, PPE.
Yeah, I don't go anywhere without sunglasses. I mean, I just never go out of the house. It's because you're right. Well, all it takes is one object in your eye, and then you'll wish you had.
So, I did call customer service, Amy, and ask about prescription ballistic mil-spec Deltas. They don't make them in ballistic. I was bummed. That's what they told me, unless you know of something different. They do make them in regular Delta, but not ballistic. Because I was thinking,
I did not know that.
I'm hoping that you can maybe persuade somebody to change that because I would love to have these.
Well, there's probably a reason they can't.
I don't know. It's just prescription. I don't know.
No, there's probably a reason.
I want prescription, and I want to be able to see. And
don't you love when she does that? I want.
Well,
that's how you get stuff.
Exactly. You have to be clear.
I have a question.
You have.
I have a one.
Yes.
Yeah, Amy, I have a question for you. This is Joe.
Sure.
Look, I tried both of those on, and they both of them feel really great. I noticed the Deltas, and those are shooting, are intended for shooting glasses as well, or as shooting glasses.
Yes.
And
yes, they are.
I noticed on the sides, the other pair kind of wrap around and give you some protection on the sides. Where I'm looking at the Deltas, and they don't. They look like they're kind of open on the side. The way the frame it looks like it cuts up a little bit, which are there different styles of that or?
There is a difference. So with the Gatorz line, there's two different. They have their lifestyle line, which regardless of whether it's safety rated or not, all the eyewear that Gatorz makes is made with polycarbonate laminate or coated impact resistant lenses. But where there's safety eyewear, and they have a complete separate line just for safety eyewear, there's two different ratings. The one Melissa has that is the wrap style, the Magnums. So those are actually what we call ANSI Z87.1 rated. ANSI stands for the American National Standards Institute, and that's the organization, the department that oversees the design performance specs and markings for safety, eye and face products. Mostly you'll find these in like the civilian workforce where safety glasses have to be compliant with high impact and industrial safety standards, but their test omits fragmentation standards of a ballistic test. So that's why the non-wrap style, even though it's certified to be mil-spec ballistic, it's not ANSI rated because where there is a clause in mil-spec ballistic testing that is required to produce about 7 times more impact energy than the regular ANSI, the 87.1 standard. And generally that with the ANSI rating, it requires a wrap style as well because it covers more surface area. So because the Deltas are not a wrap style, but they were ballistic tested, they meet the one clause, and I think I've got it with me. It's the MIL PRS 32432A for any of our listeners that know about that. It is tested for that spec, so that's how it's able to meet the mil spec ballistic rating, but it's not ANSI certified. But the wrap ones, the Magnums are.
That was quite impressive, all that stuff you just spit out there.
And if I remember correctly, I've actually seen some stories. I don't know if you guys use it in your advertising, but I've seen some stories, Amy, where guys in combat took some pretty serious shrapnel, and their eyes were saved. Yeah.
Well, and that's part of the reason why Gatorz has a really kind of a cult following, not only just within the military community, but we receive a ton of feedback and just, like you said, testimonies of cases where, people have attributed wearing Gatorz frames to why they were, involved in an accident or received shrapnel to the face and their eyes were saved.
You also have really cool cases that they come in. So I'm showing, if you can see me, I'm showing the one with the Molly on the back.
Yes. Yeah, so we Gatorz has 2 separate hard cases. There's one that's a metal hard case that I think you may have received with the Deltas, and then there's also a Molly case.
Yep, I'm showing both of them right now.
If you wanted to, and both options are available. Now, all the ballistic eyewear comes with a hard case. And then if you're buying just a lifestyle options, it does not come with a hard case, just a soft case, but you can still purchase either of those hard cases as a separate accessory.
I like how many options you have too with it. Do you have like a coupon code? Do you have, tell us your website too, where people can order some.
Yeah, they can go to Gatorz.com. That's GATORZ.com. And if you use the code EVENT15, you can get 15% off. And we also offer a standing 20% off discount to any law enforcement and military customers.
Well, thank you so much, Amy. Thanks for joining me.
Running a gun shop in California is tough enough. Beverly Hills is trying to make it impossible. Russell Stewart from Beverly Hills Guns is on next.
But first, PRMI Mortgage, PrimeRes.com/Alpine. Hey, are you in the military? Are you looking for help for a VA loan? Well, if you're looking to buy a refi, or if you're just considering a reverse mortgage, call our local mortgage guy that you can trust. Call Chris Wiley at PRMI Mortgage. For nearly 25 years, Chris has been helping local San Diegans with all their mortgage needs. Give Chris Wiley a call, 619-722-1303, or PrimeRes.com/Alpine. All right. Russell, are you on the line?
Yes, sir. How you guys doing?
Good. Russell Stewart from Beverly Hills Guns.
Yep.
So tell us how tough it is.
Well, it's so tough I've been canceled.
Oh.
I'm sure you guys probably saw on my social media accounts, but 2 weeks ago I was in the shop. I actually had customers in the shop, and all of a sudden I get a knock on my door, and I was handed a document saying, "Thank you so much for being a tenant of our building, but your tenancy is no longer wanted here. Please exit."
Wow.
And so
like immediately,
like even my walking pin.
Oh, what do you mean?
No, I mean by law, they had to give me 30 days by law. They gave me a bit more than that, but it was really just the. It was like a punch to the face. Beverly Hills Guns has been, a very successful, very popular, very needed store in our area because of the unbelievable crime wave that we have seen over the past 18 months. We are kind of a beacon of hope in the neighborhood. I've had hundreds of people call me since I posted this news about being kicked out. I'm just saying, what can we do? How can we support you? Who do we have to call?
So let me ask you a couple questions.
It's just been brutal.
What kind of relationship did you have with your landlord prior? How long had you been there?
I've been there just about 2 years now. I mean, it's a big corporation, so I can't really say that I know the owners personally, but, we were a great tenant during the height of COVID when even our city government didn't require businesses to pay rent. I never missed one rent payment. I was very proud of that because we were very successful, during that period of time when many other businesses were dying and had to close. We were very blessed. And we had lineups every single day, so I never missed, a rent payment. And we were doing, this incredible service for the community. So, and of course, too, I'm sure you guys have seen the news. We're being victims of these smash and grabs, these follow home invasions, these shootings every seems like, it's practically weekly.
So what was the reasoning? What did they tell you?
Zero. I got zero in writing reasoning. I have not been able to speak to anyone from the ownership group, but there is, obviously chatter in the community of other people that own buildings, and they just said that they didn't want this image for their property, and which doesn't make a lot of sense to me because we are a great shop. We are a high-end shop. We don't get your typical what the general public would be called the gun purchaser, which don't get me wrong, those are my people too. But the typical person that comes to my shop is of a certain income level who lives in a certain part of either our city or a neighboring city. So it's definitely the clientele that they'd be used to throughout the building. And again, it's just been a gut punch. It's been devastating, and it's stressing me out.
Can they legally do that? Have you checked with a lawyer?
Oh, yes. In fact, I've had many attorneys from throughout Beverly Hills, throughout California, even nationally, have called me and have wanted to see a copy of my lease and all of this. So I was on month-to-month because I only had a 1-year lease, and then I finished my second year on month-to-month. So there's no legal argument, and I'm not arguing the legality. I'm arguing the morality. I'm arguing the fact that why was I singled out? Why at this time when we are going through the worst crime wave that this city's ever seen? And we have city elections coming up on June 7th. We've got midterm elections coming up in November. Everyone is anticipating the GOP taking back the House, which more than likely is going to bring back civil unrest with Antifa and BLM. We have 2 train stations coming into the city of Beverly Hills in the next 2 years, which everyone is saying is going to bring more homeless and more crime. So we have just got so many problems here that to take away the one shop that was 100% dedicated to the safety of our citizens at this crucial time is what really burns me the most.
So do you, how hard is it going to be to find a new location? I totally understand your frustration.
Well,
it's
I
horrible,
wouldn't
but
leave.
I'm just curious, like how do you have a lead on a new place, or what does that look like?
As of right now, I've been very, very thankful that certain customers of mine own buildings and have stepped up and have offered me a location. So I definitely can say that Beverly Hills Guns is not going to die. But that being said, they're not the ideal locations. They're, I don't want to sound insulting or ungrateful, but they're a bit of a physical step down from what I have now. Where I was looking, if I was to move somewhere, would be to step up in size and add more in-store training possibilities and stuff like that. So I definitely have offers, but it would be a downsize. Which I know you guys have never been to my shop, but I'm already a small shop anyway. So I definitely can say we will live on, but the places that I have looked at, as soon as you say that G word, those building owners run and hide.
But so I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. I mean, you were good through the pandemic. You never missed a payment. You've been a good tenant. I would just not leave. I would, and that will bring all the TV stations, that'll bring all the media, it'll bring everybody down and put a spotlight on Beverly Hills. I mean, that's what I would do. I would stay and fight.
There's definitely that option. I mean, obviously, my goal is to find a new location and
Right.
to show that building owner that I am a good tenant, that I'm not going to cause any problems. That, you know, I already get enough media now that I would hope that somebody sees that and says, wow, he's really doing great things for the community. He's been on television. He's advocating for safety. And his shop has never had a problem. Because obviously most people hear gun store and they go, oh, you're going to have gang elements and people are going to try and rob them and da-da-da-da-da. We never had anything. We never even had a blip where we have diamond dealers getting robbed all the time.
Yeah.
We have stores like Louis Vuitton getting smash and grab all the time. So I see them being a big liability and not me.
I would stay there. I'd make my lease payment, and I just wouldn't move.
Well,
There's definitely that option.
But then that's pressure on you and your family, and you know,
Of course.
and I can see where you wouldn't need that in your life. But God, I hate when they win.
I'm a big fan of. We have to. We get to define what winning is. That's one thing I've had to teach myself with, you know, being a Second Amendment advocate. So I think the win here is let's find you a new place, have a big, huge, grand opening, you know, big, huge celebration. I think success is a win. So you know, I want you to. I'm glad to hear that you're determined. You're going to keep going. You know, it sounds like you found some places, but you're still looking for maybe the ideal place. But regardless, you know, success and shoving it in their face and saying, you know, fine, you know, and doing even better in the new place. That's I think the win.
Yeah,
that's the win.
Well, I mean, I totally agree with you, and that's just the one thing is that I never want to bring an ill light to the firearms industry.
Yeah,
I don't want to be some advocate of, yeah, exactly. See, that's exactly what they're like. They don't leave. And they cause problems, and they go straight to the media, and da-da-da-da-da. I want to say it as, actually, no, we're the good guys. And you're kicking out someone who spent years fighting to get this store open, who put my family name on the line to be the only gun dealer in Beverly Hills, to risk every single thing about being in the community, my family's name, getting ridiculed, being attacked by the left, and all these different things that I put up my time, my money, my blood, my sweat, and my tears, and my family to build this business. And that's the biggest part for me, is that to cancel me with no excuse and no reasoning, and just to simply say, well, we legally can. Okay, yeah, okay, that's great. But I'm just really hoping that there's other buildings out there that just know how much we've busted our butt to get this store popular. We are, I believe that we're probably one of the top 10 most popular stores in the city.
So Russell,
to see it close for a minute is disgusting.
It is. But let's say you move to another location. Where would that leave you as far as licensing in the city of Beverly Hills? Would they still have, because you're moving to another location, could they attack you that way and not issue you a permit?
Absolutely. I mean, federal firearms licenses, state firearms licenses on the centralized list, and then city regulatory permits are all location-based. So absolutely. I mean, moving to a new location puts every single one of those at risk.
Right.
I mean, I hope that I've built a good enough name in the city, and I've never missed a payment from the city. I've never had an issue with the city. So I'm hoping that there's going to be no problems moving my regulatory permit. The ATF has always been good to me. And that's just simply an address change. And then the centralized list at the DOJ is pretty much, a formality. So it's always just the local jurisdiction. But my relationship with Beverly Hills PD has been very strong. I've done a lot of work for them. I've donated to them. I've pretty much helped like almost every specialized unit getting new weapons. So I really don't think it's going to be a problem. But you know what? With City Hall and with the election coming up on June 7th, it's not very good timing.
Well, there's a lot of, Second Amendment advocacy, people focus on lawsuits, sometimes they talk about politics, there's a lot of different aspects, but one thing that isn't talked about enough is changing culture. And that's one thing we tried really, really hard to do.
Right.
And because right now the culture dictates that it's easier and more acceptable to ask you to leave then not, right? If we really truly were successful at maintaining the culture or changing the culture, it would be a strike against them to ask you to leave. And that's one thing we work on every single day. But Russell, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. Please, please, please let us know how we can help.
Yeah.
And keep us in touch, or keep in touch with us, and let us know what we can do to support you, man.
Let's get you a 59 Cadillac, and you can start selling guns out of the trunk. I think that would be cool, Be on the news.
I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you guys so much.
Seriously, dude, stay in touch. We'll help any way we can. Friday, we live in a time where the mainstream media and politicians are trying to eliminate your ability to defend yourself, as we mentioned with Beverly Hills Gun Store. California gun rosters only stop you, the law-abiding gun owners, from having the newest, safest, most reliable handguns. The assault weapon ban only stops you, the law-abiding gun owner, from having the most popular, easy-to-use rifle to protect yourself and your loved ones. The high-capacity mag ban only limits you, the law-abiding gun owner, from having more than 10 rounds. Criminals and the government don't have that limit. Help us restore and defend the Second Amendment. Hit the like and subscribe button and share the show with all your friends.
All right, time for everybody's favorite segment, Stump My Nephew. Sam the Gunman's my nephew. We found out years ago that he's extremely good when it comes to gun trivia. So now if you send in a gun trivia question and we use it on the air, we will send you a shirt or a hat. And if you stump my nephew, which is extremely rare, then we'll give you some kind of special prize. I think the last person won a couple of tickets to Gun Prom. We've given away front site membership. So we'll if you stump
lunch with Action Jackson.
There you go. Do you eat lunch, Jackson?
Peanut butter and jelly.
Actually, this lunch I had Wendy's.
Wendy's. How about you got a dozen eggs here?
You eat a square burger? They're supposed to be round.
I will say they are a little square.
They're big squares.
I've heard it's hip to be square.
Oh, is it?
Mine was actually almost identical to a rectangle.
A rectangle? Somebody chewed the edges off when you weren't looking. Huh. Probably your dog.
Was it good? Did you have ketchup on it?
No.
No.
Mayonnaise?
No.
No.
Just cheese and bacon with double patties.
There's nothing wrong with cheese and bacon and double patties.
Double patties.
Yeah. All right, where were we? We're on the radio.
Yes, we are.
So
we're always talking about
we
food.
have a question.
You ever
for
notice we're always talking about food?
We do talk about food a lot.
And you've never been to a dispensary. That doesn't make any sense at all.
No, I went. I went to one.
Well, there's a problem. You're stuck.
That's right. So here's the question. Sam, you there?
Yeah, how are you guys?
How you doing, man? What is your feeling on Wendy's?
I don't think I've eaten at a Wendy's in years, if ever. The square burgers thing weirds me out a little bit.
See?
Yeah, it's
out
weird.
from the bun.
Thank you, Sam. Yeah, it doesn't fit. It's like a round pizza in a square box, and you eat a triangle.
It's diversity.
It's terrible.
Did you ever try that whatchamacallit bar I gave you, Sam?
Yeah, it was good.
It was good, right?
Yeah, it was.
I gave him. I went in. We had to stop and get gas. I was out in Virginia. I had to stop and get gas or something.
At a Wawa.
At a Wawa. That's what it was. I said, I'm not coming to the East Coast and skipping a Wawa. I got to stop at a
The
Wawa.
hell's a Wawa?
It's like a
7-Eleven?
It's a convenience store. You can get hoagies. They're delicious.
Way better than a 7-Eleven.
How do you know?
I lived in Virginia, so I know all about it.
Yeah. Sorry. So I had to stop at a Wawa. So I went in. I got him a whatchamacallit bar.
In a Wawa.
In a Wawa. And I said, here, man, have you ever had one of these? He said, no. Puts it in his suit jacket pocket, and he said, I'll address this later. That's what he said.
Did it melt?
Did it melt?
It did not melt.
No.
Well, that's a good bar.
As far as candy bars, where does this rank? Or whatchamacallit?
Not a big candy bar guy, but it was pretty good. It was interesting, interesting texture. But that wasn't the question, was it?
Oh,
no.
That's right. We got a question.
No,
All right, Action Jackson, we got a question about guns here. Go for it, bud.
All right. Jake from State Farm asks, what made the Krummlauf STG-44 assault rifle special?
There you go. Did you catch that? So what made the Krummlauf, the STG-44 assault rifle, special? What made that special?
Thanks for writing in, Jake from State Farm. The Krummlauf was a device developed for the German military during the Second World War, specifically for tank crews. The name literally means curved barrel because Germans are very creative that way. And the idea is it would be attached to the muzzle of an STG-44, and they were made in like a 30-degree and like a 45-degree bend, I think. And the idea was that it would curve the bullet, sort of like the same idea as a periscope. You don't have to be in line with the target to fire the weapon and ideally hit the target. The reason they were developed was so that a tank crew could fire out from the hatch without exposing themselves, but the Krummlauf devices had a very short lifespan, and the bullets tended to shatter as they went around the bend, making the effective range very short.
You completely nailed that. It's really, really eerie at just how close you got to this explanation. The Krummlauf, pronounce it again, Krummlauf?
Krummlauf, yeah.
Krummlauf means curved barrel and refers to a barrel and periscopic sight combination with a 30-degree bend that could be fitted to a standard Sturmgewehr 44 assault rifle. It allowed the gun to shoot around corners without exposing the shooter and was meant for tank crews. As World War II progressed, infantrymen were able to take out panzers on a regular basis if they could get right up to the tank and did not care, especially about surviving. German tanks counted on their own infantry to stop attackers, and if this didn't work well, they hosed down each other's hulls. But sometimes that was not enough. With a Krummlauf, a tank commander could unbutton his hatch, shoot whoever was trying to blow him up, and button up again, all without being exposed to bullets and other inconveniences. The Krummlauf never really got all the bugs worked out. Bullets shattered inside the barrels, and barrels only lasted about 300 rounds.
Well, don't they test these weapons long before they give them to the military?
I got to tell you, in World War II, I think the Germans were
whatever they made. Here you go, give it out a try.
I think they might have been in a bit of a blitzkrieg situation when it came to getting new stuff out there. Wow. Although, my understanding is that the Germans, they kidnapped a bunch of scientists and made them work on some really cool technology when it came to war. And I don't know, curved barrel, it's a good concept.
I was going to say explosive science, but okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anyway, how do you know that, man?
That's another one of those weird pieces of firearms esoterica where, like, if you're enough of a gun guy, you gotta know at least something about it. Like the Lamat revolver is another one of those things that you asked about on the show a few weeks ago.
That's you got me with esoterica.
Well, I watched Death on the Nile. It's a 1921 version of, the crime. What's his name? The French guy. I can't think of it. Japot or Rapot.
Clouseau?
Inspector
Clouseau?
No, not Clouseau. But anyway, they had
Napoleon?
a 22 caliber 4-shot. Have you ever heard of that, Sam?
What, like a little pepper box?
Yeah. But it was a 4-shot. It was very highly decorated. And a lady carried it. And
well, if it's 22 4-shot, wouldn't that make it an 88?
Well, no. It was 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. I'd never seen anything like that. I thought of Sam immediately.
See that? You got to jot it down. I find myself anytime some kind of
I know.
Yeah,
that's what I said. I went, geez, I wonder if Sam knows anything about it. And they called it some name, and I just didn't write it down quick enough. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
Yeah, pepper boxes were popular for some time as self-defense weapons in all sorts of different calibers and configurations. But I think Mossberg actually made a 4-barreled 22 called the Brownie, and that was their last pistol before the MC1SC.
What's the MC1SC?
It's basically a Glock 43 knockoff. It takes the same magazines too.
Really? That Mossberg's making that right now?
Yeah, they are. I guess it didn't occur to me. That's probably not on the roster, so you guys don't know.
It's cool. So
the other one I seen too, it was on American Pickers, looked like a flintlock with a bayonet.
Wow. Well,
it was on the top of the pistol, and then you just flick the switch, and then the bayonet, and you had a pistol with a bayonet on the end of it.
Well, if you've only got one shot.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was. That's what they were saying too.
Like a switchblade.
Kind of. I think they said it was a captain's gun. Like maybe for a captain on a ship.
Oh.
Yeah. See, Sam, you're in my head every time I see something weird when it comes to guns. So
that's amazing.
Job well done.
I'm glad I have that association in your mind.
You do. Trust me. You do. Same thing with Mike.
It looks like, it looks like Jake from State Farm doesn't get a special gift. He just gets a.
Doesn't say Jake from State Farm.
He gets a shirt to replace his red
Let's hear
polo.
it. Come on, let's hear it.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
I was talking to our illustrious board op that's supposed to give us a hooray. And
she sounds horrible.
Okay, you're not even there.
Sorry.
All right, buddy. Nice job, as usual.
Thanks for having me on, as always. That was sort of a fun one. It's one of those either like you know it or you don't.
Yeah. Yeah, and you stumped us again. Well, that was a good job. All right, buddy. Talk to you next week.
Yeah. Have a good night, everyone.
All right.
See you, man.
All right, subscribe to the show. Give us a 5-star review. You can on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify. Definitely support our sponsors, San Diego County, Orange County, Inland Empire Gun Owners, Dillon Law Group, PRMI Mortgage, Sage G Digital Marketing, CO1, Leo Hamill Fine Jewelry, San Diego Flight Training International. I want to thank Joe Germisi, Michael Schwartz, Sam the Gunman, Melissa Lee, Action Jackson, and the Wild One in the Box, Brendan Thomas on Gun Owners Radio, FM 96, AM 1170.
The answer.